let's dig into week 11 of our Algor-Win program. Okay, as always, you can download the Algor-Win booklet at layerrealty.com/Algor-Win. As well, you can download or rewatch all of the recordings that we've done thus far at layerrealty.com/12-week Algor-Win. As well, after each recording, there is a link to the slides. So as you're going through the program, I always say it's a good idea to take notes so that you know the things that you're going to go execute on after the program. But as far as like snapping pictures of the slides, you don't need to, because we have them all for you at layerrealty.com/12-week Algor-Win. So today we're going to focus on flow, purpose, and alignment. So one of the pieces that we're going to really concentrate on is identifying what your strengths are and then strategically addressing and designing around any weaknesses that everybody has. Everyone has weaknesses in their business, things that you're naturally really good at, and then things that you're not as good at. And so maybe you procrastinate on executing or you just don't get it done. So we're going to talk about how you can design around the areas that you consider your weaknesses. The worksheet that I just shared with you is a strength and strategy worksheet. So you could start thinking about what your strengths are and think about how you could, for example, delegate the things that are not your strengths. And we're going to talk about outcome, identity, and activity goals. So more than just goal setting, we're going to talk about different types of goal setting. So outcomes, identities, and activities, and then different ways to cultivate optimism for your business. So a big portion of today, we're going to talk about how to build flow in your business. And that is about working within your zone of genius. This is a powerful approach to building a real estate business, which means leaning into your strengths and designing systems around what makes you uniquely effective and systems around the things that you're not as effective with. So when you're thinking about what are your strengths, because oftentimes as real estate agents, we kind of go after, we say, okay, these are all the things that I have to do in my business. And we really never stop and say, which are the pieces that I'm really good at? Because the business will come naturally if we love what we do. So we want to try to pluck out the pieces that don't come naturally to us so that we can figure out different ways of getting that work done. So when you're trying to identify what are the areas within your business that you're really good at, that are your strengths, then think about this. Like, what type of clients do you attract naturally? Also, when you're working in your business, when do you feel most in flow? Like, is it at a listing appointment?
Annie, are you with anybody? Is anybody around
Whoops.
you?
I'm going to mute you. Okay. When do you feel most in flow at work? So listing appointments, negotiating, networking. What tasks do you look forward to in your business? Another way to identify your strengths is ask the people around you for feedback. Who are the people that spend the most time with you? Whether it's clients, friends, family, colleagues, and mentors, just ask, what do you think I'm best at when it comes to being a real estate agent? Where do you see my strengths are? Their outside perspective will often reveal strengths that you probably take for granted. That's the interesting thing about strengths, is they come so naturally that you don't even realize that that's a strength, because to you it's not work. It is when you're in flow. You're not thinking about what you're doing because you love doing that piece of the business. So yes, sometimes it takes an outsider, somebody that knows you and watches you, to say, hey, you know what? You're really good at creating checklists. You're really good when it comes to building rapport with a buyer or seller. So have somebody looking from the outside in to help you determine where your strengths are. By the way, there are also some cool tools out there where you can take strength assessment tests, where these tests will ask you a whole bunch of questions. There's tons of them out there. Some of them have a free version. Some of them have both a free and a paid version. There's Clifton Strengths, the Colby Index. Many of you have heard of the DISC profile, which tells you that's basically a personality profile that tells you where you're strongest based on your personality traits. One that I did myself just out of curiosity, it's called high5test.com. They have both a free version and a paid version. So for the free version at high5test.com, it asks you like 120 questions, and you kind of have a little bar that you slide as to, is this something you really like or really dislike? And you slide it to maybe you like it a little or you love doing that, things like that. And then it creates an evaluation for you. In addition, so I did the free version of the High Five test. They also have for $30 this very in-depth 30-page report about your strengths. So the full strengths report is $29, but basically I did the free one and it told me the top 5 things that I excel at after I had taken this test, from deliver on what I say I'm going to do, timekeeper. I don't even know what a philomath is. I have to look it up, but it gives you little explanations. I'm a strategist. So highly recommend that you take one of those. And it's really about just identifying little things that you might not notice about yourself, especially when it comes to strengths. Many of us are really good at knowing what our weaknesses are, but we don't spend that much time thinking about these are the things that I'm really good at. So once you identify the areas that are your strengths, then it's time to build your business by focusing heavily on the areas that come natural to you. So for example, if it is a strength of yours to connect with people, that you're really good at just developing rapport, for example, you should have a piece of your business that is highly focused on networking and events and relationship marketing. Another one that might come up for some of you is that maybe one of your superpowers, your strengths, is you're really good at teaching people. Well, if you're really good at teaching people and it comes naturally to you, then a piece of your business should be offering workshops and webinars and classes literally every week. So buyer classes, seller classes. We have all the stuff for you to create and deliver wonderful classes. If you're a natural teacher, of course, this should be a part of the protocol within your business. Some of you are supernatural at designing and staging. So knowing that, you build your business around offering home prep consults or specialized listing presentations, data and research. Maybe you're super strong at data and research, then of course you should be doing the CMA a day program, because you can lean into the data that you're really good at providing. I a couple of years ago went on a listing presentation with one of our agents, and it was for a $6 million home. And it was really interesting because of the way he approached the listing presentation. He showed up with a fairly large 3-ring binder, was the listing presentation, and it was all data and research. And I thought it was so interesting. He, of course, won the listing and the property eventually sold in the multi-millions. And it was an interesting approach that he really, his strength is obviously the data and the research. And so he leans into that for his business. If your strength is social media, and we see these agents out in the marketplace, what's really interesting about all of these different areas of strength is you begin to see why so many different types of real estate agents can be successful even though they do things so differently. Here's what I mean by that. We have many very high performing real estate agents who are not even on social media at all. They don't even have a Facebook account, or some might have a Facebook account and literally never use it. But they're good in other areas. They're really good at connecting with people and networking with people and building relationships. So through looking at these different areas of strength, you begin to realize like, hey, I don't have to be like everybody else. Sometimes if you spend time on social media, you look at it and you say, okay, I better get really good at doing video and doing all this other stuff, because if you're watching social media, you're probably going to run into people who are really good at content creation. But what's important to note is that if that's not your strength, then go build your business first on what your strengths are. And then for all the other stuff, we can delegate to people who have those strengths. So amplify your superpowers. The goal is to design a business where you spend the majority of your time using your strengths, because that is where your highest value and your personal fulfillment will lie. That is when agents are super happy about coming to work, because they're not trying to be great at everything. They say, okay, these are the things that I'm really good at, and I'm going to focus on these areas. You don't have to be like everybody else. Okay, we got stuck again. Let's see. Let me reshare. There we go. Hopefully we're back. There we go. Okay. So amplify your superpower. Success comes from going all in on your genius zone and building a smart business around the things that you're genius at. Now, what should you not be doing? Don't spend all your time trying to fix your weaknesses. As I mentioned at the beginning, everybody has weaknesses. Things within the real estate business. By the way, there's so many skills involved in being a real estate agent, because if you think about it, you're like the CEO of your own corporation. Now, big corporations have lots of people that do very specialized things. They have people that do the negotiating. They have negotiating departments. They have marketing departments. They have the data people that pull data and numbers for them. As a sole proprietor, you're kind of doing everything. So you don't have to be really good at everything. We're going to talk about what do you do with the areas that you're not good at? Because by just focusing on what you're super strong at, you're going to build the flow for your business. What I want you to think about is that you can improve a strength by 10 times with practice. That means if you're already good at something and you go work on improving what you're already really good at, you can 10x that strength. A weakness is only going to have maybe a 10% improvement. The difference is the energy that you put out on something that you really love to do and what you're really good to do, or what you really like to do and what you're really good at doing. So your time is actually better spent focusing on becoming even stronger at the areas that you're good at, because you can 10x your results, you can 10x that strength. But if you focus too much on just trying to fix your weaknesses, of course you're going to see an increase in your ability to do that item. But if you really don't like doing it anyways, it's going to be a marginal increase in your ability to do it. You are neurologically and emotionally wired to thrive in certain zones. So when you work in those areas, growth feels natural and fun. That's why we want to be focused on the stuff that we're good at and we love to do. As for everything else, once you identify what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, then you can outsource or delegate the things that you're not so great at. So if paperwork, lead follow-up, design, or tech support is not your thing, hire somebody. We have lots of very high-performing real estate agents who are absolutely terrible at paperwork. They don't like paperwork. They don't like offers and filling out all the forms. And that is why there's transaction coordinators. They go out and delegate the part that they don't like. The high performers, many of them love getting out and networking and meeting with people and working on their business that way. But then they go out and hire a transaction coordinator, so all the paperwork gets done, and they have no low vibration work that they have to do throughout the day because they've delegated it out. So think about how you can leverage virtual assistants, transaction coordinators, or even certain technology platforms so that you can be more efficient. Next, you could systematize around the areas that you're not as good at. Turn weaknesses into a non-issue by just creating little systems, repeatable systems. Do you hate follow-up? You don't like follow-up? Then go find a technology that's really good at follow-up. There's so many great technologies out there that will continue to text and email the client once you've made initial phone calls. If you're an agent that's bringing in cold leads, you need to have at least a 10-part follow-up. But it doesn't mean you have to go out and do the 10-part follow-up. There's technology that can do it with you. If you struggle with time management, go find time blocking tools that can help you with that. Also, think about how you can partner with complementary people. I've seen this work really well with real estate and mortgage professionals, especially if you're an agent that is working off of cold lead programs. We said in one of our earlier Algor-Win programs, we have, and it's in the Algor-Win book as well, uh, a 10-day follow-up campaign for cold leads. The only way to convert a cold lead is to stay in constant touch with them. And many agents simply aren't great at a 10-day follow-up campaign. So one part of that is go buy a technology that will work with that 10-day system for you. But another way to work that system out is to partner with somebody who is really good at follow-up. So for example, if there's a mortgage person in your marketplace that is just like relentless when it comes to follow-up, then you partner with them and say, listen, I signed up for this lead program and I am partnering with you. I'll give you the leads that come through on this program because I know that you're going to stay on top of that person and you're going to follow up probably not 10 times, but 20 times. And I just want to know that when that person is ready to start looking, that they come back to me. So partner with complementary people. Go find that mortgage person that is the dog on a bone that's just going to keep following up. And of course, you'll do your part too, but partner with somebody that's going to 10x your results because they love the follow-up. And only improve that which moves the needle. If your weakness is hurting your growth and you cannot delegate it, then invest in growth through coaching or training. All this means is sometimes the area that you're not great at is something so important that it really can't be delegated. Let's talk about some examples. One big one is, as real estate agents, we have to be really good at developing rapport with people, like building databases, developing rapport, staying in touch with people. And if that's the area that you need the most help with, it's hard to delegate to somebody to build rapport for you. You're the only one that can build to the rapport and the trust with the other person. So if the area that you have a weakness in, this is really the only time that I would say really focus on developing your weakness is around rapport and building relationships. If that's the area where you find it most difficult, that's when you should go invest in coaching or one-on-one support, and you'll develop systems where your coach will help you work through those, create dialogue so that you feel more comfortable talking to people, and offer strategies for building rapport. Okay, I put into the chat box just a little link. This is a real estate strengths and strategy worksheet. So if you go to the chat box, you can download the PDF of this as well. I'm going to put it at layerrealty.com/12-week Algor-Win. So after today's class, I will post the video, the class slides, and the strengths and strategies worksheet. And this is to help you identify the parts of the business that are your strengths. So what are the parts that give you the most energy? What do clients compliment you on the most? What are the 3 things that you do better or faster than most agents that you know? What are the things in your business that create flow for you? Like when you're working on that in your business, you kind of forget you're even working. And then based on those answers, you can kind of back into it and figure out what are your strengths in the business. Then step 2 is to build your business around your strengths. So think about, based on your strengths, who are your ideal clients? What types of marketing would amplify these strengths? What systems or services could you offer based on these strengths? So for example, as you go through, and let's say as you're identifying your strengths, you realize, hey, I'm really good at teaching people stuff. Then your marketing should really be focused on teaching people. You should build out an event system that literally every week you're hosting events, both online and in person, to get in front of buyers and sellers, because that is your strength. And then step 3 is about identifying and outsmarting your weaknesses. What parts of your business feel heavy or draining? What have you been procrastinating or avoiding lately? Anytime you're procrastinating something in your business, it's probably a weakness. You don't feel comfortable doing it. You don't love doing it. So you put it off for all the other stuff that you do like doing. And then once you identify the areas that are kind of draining for you or that you procrastinate on, then talk about, like, how could I outsource it? Or are there any automations out there that I can purchase, like technologies? Or is there somebody else that I could delegate, such as a team member or something, or maybe a mortgage person who could help take over this part of it? And is it worth hiring a coach to improve this area? And then step 4 is about just creating your action plan around your strengths and your weaknesses. So this is the real estate strengths and strategy worksheet. I did put it at the beginning of today's class. If you're watching the live class, you can get it from the chat box. If not, you can get it at layerrealty.com/12-week Algor-Win. Okay. Real estate success is not about just being great at everything. It's about becoming elite at a few things and being smart about the rest. Cannot stress this enough. Many of you guys watch our main event program put on by Farah each month, where we interview high-performing real estate agents. When you watch those, pay close attention, because those high-performing real estate agents are not great at everything. They're really, really strong at a few things. The difference between a high-performing real estate agent and an agent that struggles is that the high-performing agent has figured out a way to spend most of their time working on the stuff they love to do. So they're excited about coming to work every day because it's the stuff they love the most. So think about how you can build your business, design a business so that you're just focusing on the stuff that you love to do. Next, let's talk a little bit about goal setting. Goal setting in real estate is absolutely critical, not just for growth, but for clarity, focus, and sustainable motivation. So I always like to say, first of all, goal setting starts in your own head. Like, what do you want? That's a really good place to start, because if you have a fuzzy vision about what you want, you're going to get fuzzy results. So you should be very clear. Clarity wins in the universe. When you are super clear about what your goal is, I want to close 30 transactions this year. Or I will close 30 transactions this year. Instead of heading out, starting each year with no real goal, no real focus about where you want to go, it's really hard to get somewhere in your business if you're not using a GPS. The GPS starts with, like, where exactly are you going? If you put into your GPS exactly where you're going, there's a much higher likelihood of getting there than just putting in an area, like a town that you are going to, but there's a specific spot within the town that you want to get to. So don't just put the town in the GPS and then wander around once you get there. Be as specific and clear as possible. So, goal setting, begin with your why. Before setting any goals, get clear on your personal motivation. Really important, because sometimes what we really want can be misaligned with the goals that we set. So before setting the goal, let's be very clear about what our motivation is. Do you want freedom of time? Are you working towards financial independence? Are you building a legacy? First, by understanding exactly why you do what you do, first of all, your goals are going to be wiser because you've already thought about what's most important. But also, as you are on your way and achieving, as you begin achieving, there's going to be lots of days where it's really difficult to get to the next day or get to the next status. And what typically will get you by on those difficult times is your why. Okay. One of the areas to think about when it comes to setting your goals is to have different types of goals. So sometimes real estate agents will say, I want to earn $150,000 this year. That's what we call an outcome goal, which is wonderful. It's a great place to start. It gives you a direction. So it's like putting a marker into your GPS. But we don't want to forget about our activity goal and our identity goal. So whatever your outcome goal is, you should start to write out the activities that will get you to your outcome goal. So the outcome goal is to earn $150,000 this year. The activity goal that's going to get me there is I'm going to do this and this and this. It's usually more than one activity that is going to get you there. So maybe make 5 calls a day, do 1 CMA a day. By the way, all of this is built into the Algor-Win program. All of the activities are built into the Algor-Win program. And then third, you want to have an identity goal. We'll talk about why this is so important in a few minutes. But you will never outpace who you believe yourself to be. So as you're building your goals, you have to think about what is the person that achieves this goal. Let's say that you're currently making $30,000 a year in real estate and you want to be making $150,000 a year in real estate. Well, one of the main reasons that you're making $30,000 a year in real estate is because you identify your personal identity inside your own head is a $30,000 a year agent. So you have to begin thinking about how would somebody that is earning $150,000 a year think differently about themselves. We'll get more into this in a few minutes, but most important, what I want you to walk away with is you need your outcome goal, your activity goal, and then your identity goal. Who do you need to be in order to be the person that does the activities and creates the outcome? Use the stair of progress framework. The stairs of progress is a visual model showing that success is built step by step. It's not by leaps. This is how it works. Imagine a staircase. Each step represents a small repeatable action. You climb consistently, and before you know it, you've reached the top. So use the stairs of progress framework when you're creating your activities for the things that are going to create the outcome for you. Your activity goal is the stairs of progress. So in order to get to $150,000 a year in income, by the way, instead of just saying $150,000 a year in income, it's much better to be as precise as possible, which means that you should break that down. How much do you make? How much do you net on an average transaction? Let's just say you net on average $10,000. Well, now you know that you have to do 15 transactions. So be as clear and precise as possible when it comes to your outcome. While 150,000 is a great goal to have, it's also more important to know exactly how many houses that comes out to. Even that, break it down further. So if you have to sell 15 houses, maybe you say, I'm going to do 7 of them are going to be listings and 8 of them are going to be buy-side transactions. Once you know your outcome, then you're going to create your stairs of progress. Like, what are the steps I have to take each day in order to accomplish this goal? So step 1, I'm going to do a CMA a day to build a listing pipeline. Step 2, I'm going to make 5 phone calls a day because conversations equal closings. Step 3, I'm going to do 2 handwritten notes a day because those handwritten notes deepen the relationships. Step 4, I'm going to attend 1 event weekly, a real estate networking event or a chamber of commerce event, a business networking event. Step 5, I'm going to do 1 video per week because I know that that builds brand and trust. And then step 6, I am going to track my results each week so that I'm constantly staying focused on what works. By the way, the Stairs of Progress is written all over the Algor-Win book. This is why we have you take action on a yearly, a monthly, and a weekly basis, and then also on every time you meet a new buyer, a new seller, when you get a new listing, and when you do events. All of it is based on those activities, the stairs of progress, and that is why none of the items within the Algor-Win checklist are heavy lifting. It's not about biting off huge pieces that are difficult for most people. It's about taking little teeny steps each day to make progress. Every step is simple. Taken daily, they create exponential results. People don't fail to reach their goals because they aim too high and miss. They fail because they aim too low and hit, or they don't take the steps at all. So the entire Algor-Win program is, we set a goal within the system. We say that if you do all of these steps, you can expect to close 30 transactions a year if you're doing every single step. But then we break it down into the stairs of progress, and it's so simple. By the way, we say right within the Algor-Win book, one of the challenges of simplicity is the things that are easy to do in life are equally easy not to do. So that is one of the greatest challenges. We all know we've been through now almost 11 full weeks of Algor-Win. There's nothing, none of the steps are really difficult. There's no difficult step. There's no super long checklist. Each checklist is 9 to 12 items. They're all teeny little things that we have to do. And sometimes what holds back that progress is simply that the things that are easy to do are also equally easy not to do. Don't let the simplicity of the system be your trap. Okay, when it comes to goal setting, break your annual goals into quarterly sprints. So divide your year into 4 quarters, set target income, listing, and buyer conversion goals for each, and then reverse engineer how many appointments, calls, or CMAs are needed weekly to hit that. So real estate success is more about weekly execution than what your yearly vision is. And then track indicators, not closings. This is another piece that's built into the Algor-Win program. As you'll see in the process tracking sheets, the process tracking sheets don't track how many closings you've gotten. Instead, we track indicators. We track what are the steps that you are completing on the checklist, because those are more important than the closings themselves. A closing, real estate closing, is what is called a lagging indicator, that you can do 3 months of the Algor-Win program and have no closings yet. But if you're doing all the steps within the Algor-Win system, you are still on track to do 30 transactions a year. But because the results of getting a closing from the system lag, we don't want to be tracking that. We're not focused on how many closings. What's more important is how many activities are you completing? Leading indicators are activities that you can control. So how many conversations are you having, follow-ups, marketing posts, appointments set. All of these are the stairs that you climb every day. Also use visual tools and scoreboards. All of this is built within the Algor-Win system. So it's important to post your goals in your workspace, use tracking sheets, whiteboards, or CRM dashboards so that you can see how far you've come. You can see how many activities you've completed. Celebrate each win. And this trains your brain to keep on going. So as you'll recall, the process tracking sheets are not about the number of closings you're getting. We just have you color in a house each time that you complete something on the checklist, whether it's weekly or monthly or with a new buyer or new seller, because those are the leading indicators. This, by the way, is also your visual tool, so that you can keep it hung up at your desk or just keep it open on your desk so you can see how far you've come. Review and reset regularly. Constantly, when it comes to goal setting, it's important to really think about, on the pieces that you're doing, what works, what doesn't work, what habits are helping or hurting you, and then you can adjust your steps whenever needed. But most importantly, don't stop climbing. So we saw on the stairs of progress that there are lots of things that need to get done in order to get business. Well, let's say 3 months go by and you really don't have a buyer or seller that you're working with yet, but you keep doing all the things on the stairs. That does not mean that you quit the stairs altogether. It just means that you go back and you look at the items that you're doing. What are the activities and how can you tweak the activities so that you're getting better results? So, let's say that your outcome goal is 150,000 in gross income, and your activity goal is 2 appointments a week and 1 CMA a day. You could create your daily stairs of 5 prospecting conversations, 1 social media market update, 1 handwritten card, 15-minute morning mindset reset. When you are creating your stairs, always refer back to your checklist, because we've already built out this entire system that you don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to go back and decide, what should I be doing each week in order to accomplish this goal? We've already created a system and we say, if you do these 9 things once a week, you're going to get your result. If you do these 9 things once a month, you're going to get the result. Real estate is also an emotionally demanding business. All of this comes down to cultivating optimism. There's always a balance within our business because we're constantly focused on getting the results and getting all the activities completed. But we also have to keep in mind our vibration, our positive mindset. So we have to get all this work done, focus on our strengths, delegate out the things that we're weak at. We have to keep climbing the stairs, doing all the activities while we're staying optimistic. So real estate is emotionally demanding, and agents ride a roller coaster of wins, setbacks, ghosted clients, and unexpected surprises. Cultivating optimism and breaking negative cycles is not just about feeling better. It's about maintaining momentum, resilience, and high vibration mindset that attracts opportunity. We're going to talk about the best practices for cultivating optimism, but it's probably one of the most important pieces of building a successful business. Okay, first, start and end each day intentionally. Do not let your phone, your inbox, or your market dictate your mood. So important to have morning rituals. Much of this is built into the Algor-Win system as well. Morning rituals like writing your gratitude list, visualization, having a morning mantra. Also doing it again with the evening reflection. Like ask yourself what went right today and celebrate the micro wins, the little wins that you've had throughout the day. There are some cool apps like the 5-minute journal, or even just use a basic notebook to take notes about what's happening and focus on the positive. Next, control what you can control. Real estate has tons of things that you cannot control. You cannot control the rates. You can't control a buyer decision. Can't control low inventory. But you can control your mindset and your schedule and your effort. These are always in your control. Set activity-based goals. So calls, CMAs, videos, instead of outcome-based goals. We already talked about why this is so important, but don't focus on outcome. The reason why in the Algor-Win book, we don't focus on how many closings did you get, and instead we focus on, did you make your phone calls? Did you do your gratitude list for the week? Did you do a video and post it? The reason we focus on all those things is because as you complete them, you create a high vibration for yourself. You are completing. Too often when the goal is, when you are only focused on the outcome, like how many closings you're working on, it's too easy to head into a low vibration. Hey, I've been doing all these things for 3 weeks and I haven't even gotten one customer yet. All of a sudden, all that good work you've done, all that good energy you've put out for 3 weeks into the Algor-Win program, one thought can shift your energy into an energy of lack and low vibration. And now you've just set yourself back another 3 weeks. You got to climb back up to that high vibration again. That's why we don't even focus on how many closings you got within the Algor-Win book. That's just a byproduct. The closings will absolutely come your way if you're focused on the activities. Just focus on completing the activities and keeping yourself in the high vibration. When you feel stuck, when occasionally you feel like, hey, it doesn't seem like the stuff's working, instead of like staying in the moment and focusing on the negativity and focusing on something that's not working, just focus on activity. What are the actions I can take right now? Get away from low vibration or lack thinking. Learn how to reframe negative events quickly. So the faster you can reframe, the less momentum that negativity has to build. So let's just say you get a listing appointment. You go on the listing and the client calls you and says, we decided to list the home with somebody else. Super important that you control your thinking around that. Instead of like focusing on, I lost a listing, instead say to yourself, I learned this was such a great opportunity. I'm so thankful that I got to go on that listing appointment because I learned what to do better next time. And I've now built a connection that I can circle back to later. Instead of focusing on, I keep calling this person and no one is responding to me, instead just say to yourself, hey, I'm in the planting season. I'm building relationships that are going to just bloom later. They're not blooming right now. Really important. This is one of the most important tools for your business is reframing negative events quickly, because we already said that there are negative events in our business that we have to navigate constantly. And if you don't learn how to navigate them in your head first, they're going to affect your business. Another way to cultivate optimism is to interrupt the cycle physically. So when you're feeling in a negative place or you're starting to feel doubt or lack, you're not feeling in a good place, just interrupt the cycle, go for a walk, go run somewhere, go dance, go just physically get out of your workspace because it will shift your mental energy. Even standing up and saying out loud, hey, I'm not going in this direction today. Not going to have it. I'm in a great mood and I'm going to keep it that way. Another way to cultivate optimism is to encourage someone else. Oftentimes, if we're starting to feel lack or we're starting to feel in a bad place, one of the ways you can build your way out of that is to go encourage someone else. Sometimes we're not so great at giving ourselves advice, but we're really good at telling somebody else. So go tell somebody else, like go lift somebody else and cheer them on. In the process, you'll begin to see that you're also simultaneously cheering yourself on. So ladder up, climb your emotional ladder one rung at a time. If you're stuck in frustration, don't aim for joy. Just aim to get to neutral first. So don't go from like upset that you lost a listing or frustrated that you lost a listing. Instead, just start with trying to get to neutral. Like we're not trying to get you to super happy from a place of frustration. Just start at neutral first. And then from neutral, start asking yourself, like, is there a different way that I could think about this? And from curiosity, go for hope. Well, what if I took the lessons that I took from today's or going on that listing presentation? What are some of the things that I could do better? Because I have another listing appointment coming up. What are some things that I might do differently in the next listing appointment? And from hope, you then go to belief. Like, you know what? I have what it takes. I can do those things that I think I can make these little shifts. I know I can make these little shifts so that I'll have a much better opportunity to get the listing on the next transaction. And then from belief, you aim for excitement. So the whole point is, it's not about just going from frustration to super happiness. It's about slowly taking yourself on a journey. And eventually you'll get there. You'll see that even losing a listing, there's opportunity. Always consult with your future self. Optimism grows when you're emotionally connected to your why. So take 5 minutes to visualize the version of yourself who already has the business, balance, and life that you're building. How would they handle the challenge? Show up as them today. Audit your inputs. Garbage in, garbage out. When you are cultivating optimism for your business and your life, it is so important to audit, like, what is the information you're allowing in your zone, in your environment. Be very mindful of the news that you listen to, the social media pieces that you're reading, and even office chatter. Listen to uplifting podcasts, follow growth-minded mentors, and read success stories. What you feed your mind shapes what you expect from your life. As well, you also have to audit your circle. All of us are the average of the people we spend the most time with. So we have to ask ourselves, who lifts me up when I talk to them? And who leaves me feeling drained or doubtful? Who is growth-oriented and encourages possibility? And who is always focused on problems, gossip, or fear? Start being aware of the people you surround yourself with and slowly start curating. Limit your access. Not everyone deserves full access to you. You have to set boundaries around people who complain, criticize, or compete. Anybody that brings your vibration down, they're hurting your business and your life. Now, you don't have to cut people out entirely, but you can control how much time you spend with that person. It's so important to protect your peace like it is the most valuable business asset that you have. Your peace is the most valuable business asset that you have. Create a positive environment. Even if others around you are negative, you can control your own environment by your playlists, your gratitude wall or your journal, your visual goals, celebrating small wins. Make sure your desk, your car, your calendar, everything around you boosts your mood. Energy shifting affirmations also work. I am a magnet for aligned clients and opportunities. Obstacles are just detours in the right direction. Every action I take moves me closer to my goals. I am resilient, resourceful, and ready. I have an affirmation I say to myself every single day. Today, I'm going to meet the right people at the right time for the betterment of my business and my life. I start each day with that. And it is incredible the number of times just out taking a walk in the neighborhood. The other day, I was on a flight from Boston to Florida, and I said, today I'm going to meet the right people at the I'm going to meet the right people at the right time for the betterment of my business and my life. And a random stranger next to me starts talking about selling a piece of real estate. When you have affirmations, they become part of you if you do them every day. So really quick, how to break a low vibration negative streak. Number one, acknowledge that you're in a spiral. Don't necessarily just ignore it, but name it. Say, hey, I'm in a low vibration right now, because just the awareness alone can break your autopilot. Number two, physical reset. Get outside and walk. Motion changes emotion. Energy flows where attention goes. We said this a few minutes ago, that one of the ways to break a negative cycle is to take action. So instead of focusing on what's not working or that you didn't get a listing, go take action. Drop off a CMA, send a thank you note, because the energy is going to flow to what you're working on instead of what you lost. Block negativity. Take a news or social media break if you have to. Have a coffee with a high viber. Positivity is transferable. So go out with somebody that has high vibration and chat with them to get into a good place. And then most importantly, just let go. Let go of what doesn't go right. Just start from where you are. Take a deep breath and say, I choose to start fresh. Today is a new vibration. Okay, with that, anybody have questions for today before we head into next week, which is our last Algor-Win? If you have a question, you can raise your hand on the, let's see. I love that. Bernadette said, my mantra is everything is always working out for me. The universe is conspiring on my behalf. And that is so true, Bernadette. It's true for everybody if you believe that. Oh, do we have somebody in Maine raising their hand? No, maybe not. All right. Anybody else? All right. I think we are all set. I want to thank everybody for a week 11. I can't believe that next week is our final week. I want to also just say congratulations to everybody participating in our CMA a Day program. We're over 1,300 CMAs in just less than 3 weeks, which is pretty incredible. So I'm very excited to see what the spring market brings for all of you. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.